Welcome to Global Information Security Society for Professionals of Pakistan.
Welcome everybody. So it's a different kind of session today. It is about just a food for thought for digital Pakistan strategy. Mr. AZIZ, he has done some work on it, so he wants to share with everybody else. So because wherever we can, whichever capacity we can, we should try to participate. We should try to contribute. So we will not take much time. We'll start now. Mr. Hassan, you please proceed.
Thank you very much, Shahzad sir. As you all know that Pakistan is being overseas is very close to our heart. And we all do in various capacities, whatever we can do. Gispp is one of those activities which is purely for promoting Pakistan. PEF is there and many others. I worked on this Digital Pakistan somehow, and I thought to share it with all of you as well. Our agenda today would be, first of all, we'll be looking at the potential of digital for Pakistan. We'll look at various facts and figures. Then we will move to the strategy, and I have divided this strategy into two major pillars. So we'll look at digital economy and digital governance, then mission, vision, and core values for digital Pakistan. And in the end, we'll have a conclusion. We'll see some recommendations what to do. And we'll divide this session into two. Some area would be covered today, and then we'll have another session maybe later on whenever we have time scheduled for that. If you are building a strategy for anything, for your organization, your IT strategy, or your business strategy, you need to understand that particular landscape. So in order to understand the landscape of digital and IT, I have put few facts and figures and some indicators as well to see where we stand and where we are at this point in time, and so that we can see what potential is there. You can see on the left side that we have a figure for the global digital economy. It is around $11.5 trillion at this point in time. It is almost 15% of the global digital economy, global economy size. This particular digital economy is predicted to grow to $23 trillion by 2025. That means from 5 years from now, it will be almost more than double, and it will be 24% of the global economy. Then we can see here global IT sector size is $5.2 trillion at this point in time. IT spendings, the global IT spendings are 5.9 trillion, are predicted to be $5.9 trillion in 2023. In 2020, it is around 3.5 trillion. So there would be a huge spending going on in this particular area as well. You can see here digital and here IT. We'll see what is the difference between digital and IT in the coming slide as well. And you may recall my previous session when we talked about digital transformation. Anyways, we'll see in the next slide. Looking at Pakistani IT sector, 2018 figures show that its size was $3.5 billion. I hope someday it become trillion. Pakistan IT exports are over $1 billion in 2018. We always look at our neighbors. So our neighbors, you can see in 2020, they are around $191 billion of size in IT sector, and they are predicted to grow to $390 billion in 5 years from now. And their IT exports stand in 2019 at $99 billion. You can see roughly it is 100 times more than us. Their economy is 40 times more than us, and their IT exports are almost 100 times more than us. So we can see a gap where we can fill in this gap and we can improve. Pakistani IT sector and IT exports are less than even 0.1% of the global IT sector and exports. If we grow digital economy to 0.5% of the global, it will turn out to be 26 billion USD. And if we grow to 1%, it will be 52 billion USD. And overall, it will contribute to 18% of the GDP if we take the current figures. So you can see there is a huge, huge potential for us to actually grow our digital and IT sector. On the bottom side, you can see here, there are some indicators. These are the global indicators. And first you can see GEDI. This is a Global Entrepreneurial Development Index. And we stand at 120 out of 137 countries. In Talent Competitive Index, we stand at 109 out of 120. In E-Participation Index, we stand at 0.523, 103 out of 193 countries. In EGDI, we stand at 2.3566. The total is out of 1. This figure has been taken out of 1. So we are below average in the whole world in Electronic Development, Government Development Index. So we can see that even in the global indicators, we are not performing very well. So there is a need to improve, and there is a need to synthesize our different strategies, different departments, whatever actions are being taken. We need to have a major transformation to take Pakistan in the digital arena further. When we talk about digital and when we talk about IT, I have put in this slide various different industry segments which are part of the digital economy overall. By the way, digital economy is still being defined at a global level, that what digital economy should consist of. But I have taken these 5 major areas which are part of the industry segments. And you can see here the IT and IT enabled services as well. So the difference between the IT and digital is that in IT, in traditional IT, we talk about softwares, we talk about applications, and the infrastructure on which these applications are residing and the services are being provided. And mostly we are talking about the automation of the business processes, the operations and all that. And when we talk about digital, if you are considering social, mobile, analytics, cloud, IoT, and platforms in your technology strategy, that means you are talking about the digital. And in another way, if we look at from another viewpoint, if you start using your traditional IT, and when it starts contributing to the revenue of your company, and it starts generating new revenue streams, then that means you are talking about the digital. So I hope with this, it is a little clear, but further it will be clarified. You can see in the middle, digital and online businesses. Digital and online businesses are the main core of the digital economy, which are based on IT services and software products and the core part as well, which is the infrastructure and etc. Digital and online businesses, I can give you the example of when we are using Uber, when we are using Cream, when we are in Pakistan, we are using Food Panda. Here we are using Hunger Station. There is Airbnb, Hotels.com. All these are platforms which are residing on IT, traditional IT applications, but their business model is different. This is about digital and online businesses. And in the previous slide, when we saw that IT sector size is around 5.2 trillion, and the global digital economy is around $11.2 trillion. So that means rest of the gap is covered by these digital and online businesses. So this, with the passage of time, will become more and more relevant in the digital economy as we move forward. Let's move on, and we will further explain these different segments in the later part of the session. Now, I'm moving towards the strategy pillars. I've divided this into two major pillars, and then on the bottom you can see there are some umbrella activities which I've written. I'll explain. So the major pillars are digital governance and digital economy. Digital governance is about using the IT, traditional IT, with a focus on social, mobile, analytics, cloud, and all that, and transforming the business functions of the government that becomes categorized under the digital governance. And similarly, in digital economy, as we just talked, when your businesses start, when your IT and technology start contributing towards your top line, that means your revenue, that means you are talking about the digital economy. So I think now it is quite clear. Before we move on further deeper into these pillars of the strategy, and for the strategy, it is also very important to understand the challenges and the issues which you face, so that you can address those challenges in your strategy. In digital governance, you face various challenges, but I've listed 3 in each of these areas. First challenge in the digital governance is organization change management, OCM. People are used to of working at a pattern. And when you are changing their lives, when you are digitally transforming them, there surely is going to be a resistance. And that resistance has to be tackled in a proper way. Otherwise, all your efforts may go down the drain. It is true in the government, and it is true in all other places as well. Whenever you are keeping in view the current economics crunch and all that, after the COVID, the situation has further worsened. So budgets would be a major challenge to have budgets. So we need to build our strategy in such a way that with a lower cost, you are able to deliver much more. Then complex processes. As you know, complexity in our lives has increased. Similarly, the government processes has also the complexity in that has also increased. So this complexity has never been addressed, especially in our government. There has never been a restructuring or a BPR kind of exercise which can streamline these different processes. We are carrying those legacy processes into the future where there is a different need from the citizens and the businesses of modern day. So this is also one of the challenges. If we move to digital economy challenges, in my view, business development is a major challenge because this is a new kind of phenomena which is happening, and there are things which we cannot take forward. New startups, though, are coming up, but they do not know how to do the business development kind of activities. So this, in my view, would be a major challenge. Investments and fundings are required for the startups ecosystem and to flourish the digital economy. So this would also be a challenge. Workforce is always a challenge, and especially in countries like ours, retention is not there because the good resources are drained out and they move on towards the foreign countries like us, and there is hardly any talent, skilled workforce left in the country. So this, in order to flourish the digital economy, this also needs to be tackled. In the umbrella activities, there are two types of activities which I put over there. You can see here the policy framework, regulations, laws. There has to be a focused group who should work on these various different types of laws, regulations to ease out doing the business in the digital economy segments. And also, for example, in the previous few months, we have been seeing the blockage of various popular games. There is no policy as such which is existing, and these kind of policies has to be built in order to tackle such kind of situations. Similarly, when you are building a strategy, that strategy needs to be transmuted into roadmaps, into plans, and then there has to be a monitoring and control mechanism with right kind of KPIs and targets to be set for each of the stakeholders which are involved and who have been given some responsibilities. Unless that roadmap and those action plans would not be successful. So let's move on now towards the digital economy. We will cover the digital economy in this session and digital governance part in the next session. In the digital economy, there are startups, ecosystem, which needs to be flourished, and we need to build the culture of entrepreneurship. This is what is happening all over the world, and you can see in the global entrepreneurial development index, we are not performing very well over there. So this particular area needs to be focused. Then once you are having more companies, more startups, more products, more services coming in, then we need to also focus on the exports. There are actions which need to be taken. There are facilitations which needs to be done for these startups and other businesses as well, and also to generate the revenue from this in order to build the digital economy. Then the fourth segment in this pillar is IT workforce development. And the fourth one is the investment. In the digital governance, just let me explain a little bit about this, then I'll move forward. I've divided this into two major services. One, I have categorized into GCBS. GCBS is about government, citizen, business services. These are the services which are facing towards the citizens and the businesses. For example, businesses would like to have to apply for registration businesses would like to apply for right-of-ways. So these, and citizens would like to pay taxes, maybe apply for some kind of certificate or maybe national identity card or these kind of services. So these services are put in GCDS. The other segment is GES, the Government Enterprise Support Systems. These are concerning the internal business processes of the government. We'll talk about this in detail in next session. Then I've always been a very fan of building architectures. Whenever you are doing digital transformation in complex organizations like banks and telcos, it would be appropriate to build the architecture. It will give you two primary benefits. One, your time to market, TTM, and one, your total cost of ownership. So as we talked about the budget challenges, architecture is one particular area which will help you in building your services and applications in a cost-effective manner. Then we also need to build the platforms which are to be used by these services. These are big data platforms, analytics platforms, blockchain, GIS, and many. We'll talk in detail in our next session. Now, in the digital economy, I'll explain, this is a list for IT services. It is not exhaustive. There are many, many others. I've just, for example, IT consultancy, digital transformation, managed services, IT operations service integration, IT assurance, audit and GST kind of services, IT strategy and advisories. So these are major IT services which our startups and our IT businesses can work on, and these are needed in the world, and we can earn a lot of revenue in this particular area. Then there are IT-enabled services. We call these IT-enabled services commonly BPO, the business process outsourcing. The popular area in this is financial and accounting, then HR, payroll, training and development, contact center, online testing, back office, customer support, IT and telecom operations, sales and marketing. So these kind of services, this is a very rich industry, especially in India and also in Thailand. So we can gain some revenue to build our digital economy in this particular area as well. Then the next one is the digital and online businesses. For example, the digital commerce, food businesses are very popular, online businesses, especially after COVID. This sector is going to flourish much more than which was anticipated earlier. Then there are multi-sided platforms like Uber, Careem, and there are marketplaces like Alibaba, Draz, and many, many others as well. So this is also one of the areas where we can flourish. Then the software products, the traditional software products can be built and sold, ERP, CRM, contact center solutions, information security solutions, in fintech, the payment kind of products can be built. Then in various different industries like EdTech, education technology, agri-technology, and many, many other technology solutions can be built, which are specific for the industries. Then video audio solutions and many, many other examples. Then the core, which is about the hardware, the compute, storage, data center, cloud infrastructure services, connectivity, access, and the network solutions. So these are always needed in this. So overall, you know, these are the 5 major segments in the digital economy. Some are traditional IT and some are the new digital ones. All are put in the digital economy. I'm now moving some suggestions and some action areas which are required in the entrepreneurship. First one is, again, the regulation, laws, policies to boost building a new company, building a new setup, startups. These could be company and corporation policies, tax policies and laws, stocks, bankruptcy, venture capital funding related regulations and policies, exit laws. So all these different kind of laws and policies need to be built, which are supporting, which are facilitating the newcomers and the entrepreneurs. Then we need to build high quality incubators and accelerators. We have seen few in last 5 years or so, but there is a need to do more in this particular area. Incubators are about the new startups who have just generated a new idea and they are building a prototype and they do not know anything about the business, how to set up a company. So these incubators will probably provide them the space and the guidance and all those things, and the trainings as well. Accelerators are specifically for those companies who have passed through their incubation period and who have probably the angel investment. Now they are going for the seed funding. So those would be groomed by the accelerators. So these are particularly very important to actually facilitate the startups and help the entrepreneurs to build their companies. Then angel investment, venture capital, public fundings, crowdfundings. There has to be policies, there has to be supporting and supporting laws, and then also various different departments of the fund and the functions of the government should incentivize people, should go and convince the angel investors and the venture capital companies who are working in the globe to come in Pakistan. We can also establish a public fund by the government. There are few, but there is a need to put in more money into this so that some companies are funded by the government as well. Then crowdfunding is also one of the ways of generating money for the startups as well. Then coming to business development, as I said earlier as well, this is one of the major areas in which all the newcomers would be lacking. So our Software Export Board, PASHA, Pakistan Embassies, TDAP, Overseas Pakistani Communities, forums like PEF and Gispp, various IT boards in provinces, all these need to put their act together. There has to be an overarching policy and strategy to help these new companies to do the business development, not only within the country, to stimulate the demand, and also do some kind of policy as well, where we do the local preferences we give preference to the local companies. Similarly, we also need to work on there can be focused groups, non-profit research institutes type, where they are continuously looking at industry trends and the demands, and they are generating the ideas and the innovation from those forums, and those ideas, those innovations are adopted by the entrepreneurs and the businesses in this industry as well. Then, as we saw that we were not good in entrepreneurial development in X globally, so we need to also focus on this. We can see a serious lack in this. In universities, there has to be maybe a course added in the curriculum There could be internships, which can be helpful for the students who, when they graduate, they know how to build their company, what are the dynamics of having a company. And then there could be courses which can be offered maybe in the incubators or accelerators or other places where it is feasible. So all these different actions need to be taken in order to have these things flourished. I think we now close this session for the time being, and we'll have the next session whenever we feel it is scheduled by Shehzad sir. Now I'm open for questions. We still have 3 minutes to go, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy.
Guys, you can unmute your mic and ask the question, or you can put in the chat window.
I would like to ask a question.
Yes, please.
You mentioned digital governance and digital economy. And I was wondering, in terms of the one of them being a prerequisite of the other, is that something that you see? That, for example, you might have to put in digital governance before digital economy can take root? Or do you see them both being run side by side in a synergistic way?
I think it will go side by side. When you are stimulating demand for digital economy, first you have to kind of stimulate demand within the government as well. But we cannot say that first we will focus on the digital governance, then we'll focus on the. So in my view, these two will go in parallel. We should focus on the business side of it to boost the economy, as well as start using and improving in the digital governance area as well. One other logic behind this is, if you are not good in the digital governance, how can you go and convince the foreign companies where you are selling your products and when you are exporting? So you have to have a good standing in the IT and digital in order to be known as one of the markets which is good for the IT and digital. Hope answers this question.
Thank you. It does.
Anybody else?
If nobody else, I can ask a follow-up question.
Please.
Assalamu alaikum, Arslan Tariq here. I would like to ask a question.
Please.
Thank you, AHSAN Saab. This was very insightful when it comes to the digital strategy. One of the things that you also touched in one of the slides where you mentioned the organizational change management, and that, in my opinion, also relates to the underlying mindset towards the digitalization of any governance or business. So what challenges and recommendation do you have to cater that? Because specifically when we talk of the public sector, where all this governance needs to set up, the mindset is going to be one of the biggest challenge. So how do you see that being resolved when it comes to the public sector in specific? Thank you.
Yes, it's a very good question actually, because even if you are not in government, you are working in various corporates, there would be still the organization change management challenges. In government especially, it will be much more than that. When I was part of Pakistan Telecommunication Company Limited, luckily I've been through 4 major transformations over there. And first one was when people were not even used to of using the mouse. And that was a big challenge over there. There were various ways and techniques which we used. We had road shows before the launch. We gave trainings to them. We actually told them that this is going to help you. This is not going to actually, because one of the fears is that their job will be gone and they will not be having kind of monopoly over there. So you need to take various different actions in which you at times will be very strict with them. At times so carrot and stick kind of thing would be used. So you incentivize them, you give them a plan. For example, if you will start using this system, your annual efficiency report would be added with 5 marks into that. Or maybe for promotion, you can kind of make this mandatory for them. So there has to be various different kinds of mechanism, a framework to be put in place. OCM, organization change management, has to be a very well thought out activity with many actions has to be taken, has to be listed down, and how it will be made successful, how it will be, people would be convinced. So there are many actions which has to be taken. I cannot, Yani, take more time because it will take maybe another full session to explain the organization change management. But overall, I agree with you that this is a major challenge, and it needs to be taken care of properly within any digital transformation.
Can I ask a quick question? This is in regards to building the brand for Pakistan overseas. You mentioned there's a competition from Singapore and Hong Kong and other places from IT services. So what is the plan to really build a brand for Pakistan services across the globe? And second thing is, we heard concerns around execution. So how to execute the plans to make sure people are getting the value for their investments?
Actually, you see, I'm also an overseas Pakistani. So I cannot say what plans they are having. Somehow I was working on this, and I thought to share it with you. But building a brand image is one of the major challenges, and for that there has to be efforts in various different areas. For example, you can start from the global indicators, and we see that in global indicators, I've listed few, there are many others, and we are not performing very well in those. So maybe that can be one area where if we are improving in those, that means it will help building our brands. Then I can see there are many government departments like Software Export Board, TDAP, and there are Pakistan embassies where there are trade attaches all over the world. So they all need to put their act together, and they need to build. There has to be a kind of a team which should be hired who are expert in branding and marketing, and they help those startups, those companies to build the world level, the world class marketing material with modern day techniques, and those are available to all these different supporting arms of the government. And also one of the, it actually will come in the next session. I had one idea in which that we can build, because the startups would always be having a funding problem to build their own marketing. Maybe a centralized sales function can be built in various countries, who is not for one company, who may be taking care of 5 different companies and in various different areas. It will come in my next, so it would be better that we take have a look at that in the next session. So these are different actions which needs to be taken in order to improve the situation. I agree with you. Branding is one of the major areas which we need to focus on.
I feel Pakistan is missing out a major opportunity for investments. India's way ahead of us, and I think the branding intake has to be there, right? You can execute that, but if you don't have a good brand, you're not going to go very far, in my opinion.
Sure, agreed.
एहसान साहब चैट में कुछ कमेंट्स हैं वो भी देख लें. Ghazanfar, you want to say something? If you are still here.
The first question is from Wasim Sahib. Where does Pakistan stand in digital framework strategy? Actually, I'm not a spokesperson for the Pakistan digital Pakistan. I do not know any such framework. So I think it doesn't exist at the moment. The second question is from Naeem Bhatti Sahib. I have questioned that after I open digital account and I have to return to Pakistan permanently, what happens to
It's not relevant for this session actually.
Yes, this is not relevant.
This is by mistake, I think.
Sanfar Ali Saab, who will own and execute such a strategy in Pakistan? MOIT has no say, capability to even deliver 5.005% of this. Yes, you are very right. At the moment, we stand nowhere. There are various different functions within the government which are not working together. They are not synthesizing their work. They are not synchronizing their work. So there has to be a restructuring of MOIT, or maybe they brought one head of Digital Pakistan, but she had to leave. So in my view, there has to be a structure for Digital Pakistan strategy execution. Under that structure, there should be two segments, as we talked about, two pillars, one for the digital economy and one for the digital governance. And underneath, there should be a whole structure. Maybe I do not know how the MOIT role would be there, but there has to be a kind of restructuring, a complete transformation of various IT functions. There is Software Export Board, there is Pakistan IT Board, National IT Board as well. There are many. So there is a well thought out restructuring exercise needs to be done in this particular area. I agree with your comment on this. Please share presentation. I've shared this presentation with Shahzad Saab. Probably he'll be uploading it somewhere. So please share the presentation. So that's all in the chat section.
Okay.
Over to you.
Ahsan Saab, one question from my side. Arslan over here.
Yes. Saab.
I work as a head of IT in one of the startups which has been accelerated in Bahrain. I am from Lahore. What I'd like to highlight is, I think while we're working on the desired state, is it also possible that we bring in some charts on what not to do as a startup in the digital economy? So what I've seen is in the region, in the Gulf, they're not just sharing the frameworks to develop the economy, they're also sharing stories where failures are being highlighted. So there is like a failure chart. So is it possible for you to bring out names or organizations that had to shut down because they had either a wrong framework adaptation, or there was some legal or regulatory issue when they started off in Pakistan. So is it possible to have such a, let's say, failure nights or failure chat kind of an event as well?
I think there are two parts in your question. It's very relevant. When we talked about the incubators and accelerators, it actually is the job of incubators to actually groom the startups. Where would be the failure? What are the pitfalls for the startups? Where they can end up with some kind of a blockade when they move forward. So incubators are meant for this purpose all over the world. This is the job of the incubators and accelerators up to some extent as well. But for startups who are seeking at the angel investment level, they have not gone into the seed funding as yet. So these kind of stories and different actions has to be taken care of by the incubators, I guess. And then the second part is that I'll try to find out some material. If I can find, I'll share with on the Gispp platform.
Okay, guys, thanks everybody for attending. AHSAN Saab, thanks a lot for your coming forward and doing this session for us. At least, even if we can't do anything, at least we can bring out some ideas which can be used by other people, relevant authorities, to at least do something about it, or to start thinking about it, because still we have a lot of potential which we are not using, unfortunately. So let's hope for the best, and let's hope that we are able to reach to somebody who can actually hear our ideas and hear to these thoughts and start doing something right somewhere. Thanks everybody. Thank you, AHSAN Saab. I'll finish the meeting now.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.